Good morning. Welcome back to the Red Mic. Happy Wednesday. Glad you're here. Today's Red Mic message: the fix is in the failure. I remembered this story yesterday. An old friend of my late father's is in town, and we got to reminiscing about dad and some old stories. We didn't talk about football directly, but one of the other guys that he's with is on the city council in Wichita Falls with a kid I coached in football. So all these football thoughts were in my head as I was on my way home yesterday. So I sat down and wrote this out. Took me back to a boys club football field in Wichita Falls where my fraternity brother, Gerald Schallenberger, and I coached the American League Lions. I think I've told you about this team before. They were loaded. We beat one team 60-0. I mean, we started pulling our starters in the first quarter because it was clear this was going to be a runaway. Eventually, we put one of our starting guards in the backfield, literally the slowest kid on the team. We thought, he's not going to do much. We gave him the ball. He took it to the house, about 40 yards for a touchdown. That's how crazy talented this team was. We went undefeated through the entire season, only gave up 14 points all year. 6 of those points taught me a really important lesson, and I carried it through the rest of my youth coaching career. In that same season, regular season, we were playing the Leathernecks, the same boys club team I played for when I was a kid. And we were beating them pretty handily. After one of our touchdowns, we kicked off deep. And our kids pretty much did everything right. They stayed in their lanes, they covered the kick, but the returner still broke through and went the distance. Touchdown. Now, up till that point, nobody had scored on us all year long. Well, Gerald and I looked at each other right then and there, and we decided, well, we're not doing that again. So, I mean, with the team as talented as these kids, if we could execute the coverage really well and still give up a touchdown, why give opponents that opportunity? So we changed. With very few exceptions, I never kicked deep again, and we didn't kick deep again all year long. Now let's fast forward to the playoffs. We were in the semifinals trying to get to the Toy Bowl, the championship for that boys club league up in Wichita Falls. Late in the game, holding on to a 6-0 lead. The other team, they were a lot faster than us. They were the Wolverines. Time was running out, but they kept knocking us back. And we were pinned near our own goal line. Then my dad yelled from the stands, "Patrick, safety!" Light bulb. He was absolutely right. We called a timeout. I think it was our last timeout, and called our whole team over. We got our quarterback, kid named Greg Henderson, great athlete, hands down one of the best athletes I ever coached. He ended up playing quarterback at Rice. His brother played there too, played running back. Greg and Tommy Henderson, great kids, great athletes. Well, we told Greg, take the snap, run into the end zone, run around as much as you can, and when it looks like they're about to tackle you, either fall down, and maybe they'll land on you and we'll get a penalty for unnecessary roughness, or run out of bounds, whatever. Well, he didn't like that idea because he wanted the shutout, and I understand. We said the shutout is not what's important. Winning and getting to the championship game is. So Greg did it. Safety, you know. Now it's 6-2. We have to kick the ball back to them. And because what we had learned earlier in that season, we knew what we weren't going to do. We weren't kicking it deep. So we kicked it relatively short. We kicked it the biggest kid on their line, on their front line, and we kicked it at his feet. So he had no choice. Fall down. Our defense held for the next 30, 40 seconds. Time expired. We won 6-2. Their coach said, "Man, when I saw Greg run into the backfield, I knew what y'all were doing, and I knew we weren't going to be able to score in the amount of time that was left." He said, "Good game, y'all." And honestly, that was probably the championship, because the next week we won the championship game 38-6. One of the reasons we finished perfect was because we'd already discovered an imperfection in our game. That 6-point mistake earlier in the season showed us a weakness. We didn't waste it. We learned from it. We studied it. We changed what we were doing. And when the season was on the line, that lesson was already in our playbook. You got to remember, sometimes the thing that exposes your weakness today teaches you exactly how to win tomorrow. Strive for perfection. Don't depend on it. Perfection is a worthy target, but it's a terrible expectation. You're going to make mistakes. Your team is going to make mistakes. But sometimes something that's always worked out is going to fail. Somebody is going to expose a weakness that you didn't know you had, and that's not the real test. The test is what happens next. Do you make excuses? Do you blame somebody? Do you keep doing the same thing because that's how you've always done it? Or do you ask, what did this just teach me? A mistake isn't valuable just because you made it. The value is in finding the fix. Figure out what went wrong, figure out why it went wrong, change what needs changing, then get back on the field and do it the right way. Because your mistakes don't define you nearly as much as what you do after them. And Dad, that intentional safety was a really good call. Thanks again. I miss you. That's today's Red Mike message. Hope you found it interesting. I hope you found it helpful. I hope you're able to put these things in place in your own life. That's why I do these Red Mike messages. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. right here. Same bat time, same bat channel. And they are, of course, leadership and life lessons I've picked up from 25 years as a public servant, 16 years as a youth football coach and scouting volunteer, and 10 years as a mediocre athlete with far more heart than actual physical ability. Thanks again for being here. I'll see you again tomorrow. And until next time, don't forget, as always, life is short. Drink the bourbon.